welcome to part 2 of Best Unboxing Ever, the Lotus project. So last time we went over the kit itself and we kind of ended off on painting. And at that point I decided that I was going to take these paints, figure out what I wanted flat, what I wanted gloss, and what I was going to paint in silver, and kind of take it from there. But what I've decided is those are trash. So we're going to go ahead and use something a little bit better. So here we have a model car spray paint set from Testers, and as you can see on the top we have a whole bunch of different colors. Most importantly, we have the gloss red and the gloss white. Gloss black might come into play, but we'll find out. As far as the silver goes, I'm 99% sure I have a Testers enamel silver around here, although you'll notice this is an acrylic set. So the difference between acrylic and enamels as far as this particular project goes is acrylics are going to be water soluble, whereas lacquers require actual thinner in order to make it thin for this guy here. So what are we looking at here? This is sort of a pseudo airbrush. So an actual airbrush, you would have your airbrush aperture, you'd have the pump itself to pressurize the air to go through it, and that sort of thing. While I do own, in fact, let's take a quick look here, you can see kind of the setup in the corner. That takes a lot of effort and a lot of maintenance and a lot of cleaning. So in fact, actually, I think I have, let's see, the actual airbrush right here, which we can show off. Let's go ahead and go through all the different parts we have going on here. So as you can see, we have the actual airbrush itself to give it some power. In here we have where the paint goes, and then we hook it up here to actually get some pressurized air. And I have an air pump over there, but the thing about this is once you use it, you have to clean it, and that is a lot of work that, let's be honest, I don't want to do. So let's go ahead and tear into this guy here, which is the Lazy Man's version of an airbrush. I mean, I suppose you could also call it a starter version of an airbrush as opposed to a Lazy Man's version, but mine is definitely the Lazy Man's version. So let me find a quick knife here to open this box up. There we go. Now let's see what we have inside. So much like the airbrush that you saw, this is where all the paint's going to go, but unlike the airbrush, we're going to have just two parts here. So we have this and this, and all this is an area that takes a can of compressed air and shoots it out here so that the paint kind of atomizes on its way out. So think of it as a better version of a spray paint can, but a worse version of an airbrush. And the only thing you have to clean then are these two pieces, the actual bottle itself and the top. And because these are acrylics, I can do it all with water. What else we have in the box is our little can of airbrush propellant, probably some sort of propane that's unscented, kind of like an airsoft gun. We have, so this is only funny to me, and I'll tell you why. These kits are sold at NJ Hobby, where I worked for like 9 years, and where we got everything you're seeing in these series. Come in two different displays. They come in this little box display, which is less popular, and they come in a more popular see everything blister pack. And this is the kind of the face unit for the blister pack. This is what it would be, you know, kind of showing off. And these sell a little bit better because it kind of shows you what's going on. This kind of doesn't show you anything. So it's just kind of funny that they just kind of shoved that in there and decided that these are the same, but one was plastic and one was paper. All right, and here finally we have our paints. So as you can tell, these are acrylics. I normally do work in enamels, but laziness does prevail, especially in my line of work. So let's see what we have here. We have our gloss red, the white, which is important, the teal, which will not be used, black, which might come important later, blue, which, I mean, that is a BT color, but will not be used here, and purple, which will not be seen in this film. So the next thing we want to do, and I'll cut away for this, is we take the newspaper and we set it up so that we can have all the pieces on top of it, and then we'll mix some paint, some water in this guy here, and then we'll give everything kind of a first coat, and from there determine if it needs a second. So in a perfect world, I would set everything up so that I could get it in one go. So what that would entail is I would take, let's go with the piece we're definitely using. I would take a piece like this, and I would have it essentially on like a toothpick with some Funtack, so that I could get every last angle that it needs. But I don't have that set up right now. I don't see myself setting up that right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to place everything on the paper, and we're just going to run through it with the acrylic gloss white and get a base coat on everything that we want to be white. Now the one exception here is the canopy. So the canopy, as you can see, is clear. Let me get a good view on that for you. And this has to be partially white, so I'm going to have to mask this. I don't think we're going to do this guy today. I think we're going to leave all of the pieces that need masking for a different day when I have the correct pieces to mask it with. But that's also another reason we're using this setup here, because it looks like we're going to have a couple different series of painting. I do not have an acrylic silver. I know that. I know I have a lacquer silver. So I'm going to go ahead and cut now, and I'm going to set everything up to actually paint. We're not going to paint on the table here. We're going to paint on the floor, only because I don't want to get my little tool here a nice sheen of gloss white. And I will come back soon with the magic of it. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here we are on the floor, and you can see all of my pieces laid out here that I want to turn white. Now, we're going to have to adjust a few of these best we can to try and get a full coating. This is definitely one of those moments where I wish I had a painting block or something, but hey, you do what you can. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this worked out. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of paint in there. And you might ask, why there's not a lot of paint in there? Well, that's because you actually need a whole lot less than you think. I've used these quite a bit in the past, and you always end up putting more than you need, so even that little bit is probably too much. So first thing we want to do is just give a little test on the paper. Alright, here we are, everyone, on the floor. As you can see, I've laid out everything I want to turn white. Looks like a couple things are upside down, so I'll go ahead and fix that real quick. Here's where having like a better painting station would come into play, but you work with what you have. So once we have everything facing the right direction as much as humanly possible, we're going to want to test our little paint can here. You'll notice this is not full. It doesn't need to be full. So let's... There we go. There's a nice little area of white that's not working. There we go. Alright. Alright, everyone. You can see all of the parts I want white laid out on the floor. I have my paint in my little apparatus here, so let's give this a test. There we go. That's what you want to see. So, unlike a spray can that's a little bit more atomized, unlike an airbrush, it's not quite as good, but certainly a lot quicker and a lot easier to clean. So let's go ahead and give everything a quick layer here. Come on. Alright folks, we're having a problem here. I am going to see if I have something to stick these pieces down, and then we're going to try that again. So in And we're back, and it's almost like it's been multiple weeks later. I'm wearing different stuff. My watch band color has changed. But pretty much one thing I wanted to show off before we ended this is the final product. So, as you can see, everything we decided to do in a nice shade of white is now in a recognizable color. We were going to do the silver paint today, but my painting area is a little bit flooded. I'll spare you the gore of that. So we can go ahead and add another one to the fail counter, and next time we'll go ahead and look into painting all of these guys, both silver and matte white, because I think the actual driver will do in a very simple matte white to make him a little bit different than the car himself. All right, thank you folks for coming along, and I'll talk to you next time.